Future of talent acquisition. I think if I really look at talent acquisition as a function, it's one specific area to my mind in the last 2 decades, having worked across the globe with so many multinationals and having traveled and lived in many countries. This is one function which has very similar shades of facade and very similar shades of sham. Why do I say that? Because these are bold statements to make. In reality, there are 5 dimensions in talent acquisition that one has to understand. And without understanding these 5 dimensions, we cannot talk about the future. The first dimension is the function itself. I think in most companies, the talent acquisition function, even today, is a body shopping function. And in reality, what they do is that they take a carbon copy, Xerox copy of the candidate that has left the organization, especially in replacement scenarios. And then they go out on a hunting spree across the market to search for a person who is most identical to the person who has just left, with the notion and belief that the attitude and behavior that individual had will come along with this individual who is looking very identical. The second notion and belief is that he or she, when he or she comes in, will deliver results. And in reality, both notions are very foolish notions. And that's why I laugh sometimes when I look at the state of talent acquisition affairs in most organizations across the globe, because it's very funny. Because if you really look at talent acquisition, at the end of the day, what should be the objective of any talent acquisition function? The objective should be very simple, that we are hiring talent, and talent is being hired for positions that are of relevance, key, critical importance to the organization. And at the end of the day, what do we really do? We actually are searching for people who we try to fit in the garb of culture fitment. Now, let me ask that question to those individuals who are at the helm of affairs as talent acquisition heads or talent acquisition managers, that what are you looking for? Are you looking for someone who will fit the culture, or are you looking for someone who will come and contribute to the culture and make it better? Because if you're looking for someone who will fit the culture, you will never really actually hire talent. So that's the first dimension, failure, where that talent acquisition function itself is nothing but a hiring, body shopping function, which classically has never really evolved to the level of a talent acquisition function. The second dimension in talent acquisition is the area of executive search. Now, that's again where there are lots of layers and layers of dimensions that we can look at. But classically, executive search industry in reality is actually not really searching for talent. In reality, what they're searching for is that the person who I'm going to appoint, is he going to be the most sellable and marketable candidate in that organization? Because in reality, if you really look at how executive search companies operate, they really look at the candidates who will be liked by the hiring panel. They look at the credentials that have been given for the search to them by the hiring leaders and managers, and they do not play the role at all of what they are really supposed to play, which is a talent advisor. All executive search agencies are nothing but acting as executive assistants to hiring leaders and managers. So in reality, when they go out to search, they ask people to apply for resumes. And in my mind, resumes are dead 10 years back. Even today, resumes are of no relevance and no importance. But even today, executive search agencies are shortlisting candidates on the basis of their resumes, which is funny and foolish. Companies are looking at resumes and recruiting people basis that. They still circulate that dead document, which I call as job description, which is of no relevance today. Because in reality, whatever you might be writing in a job description draft today might actually change in 1 year's time. Nothing is in your control in the VUCA world that we are living in. So in reality, I think that's the second dimension of executive search, where the whole industry is failing as a talent advisor and is actually becoming like assistants to the hiring leaders and managers. The third dimension failure of talent acquisition is the hiring leaders and managers themselves. All of them believe that they have got the license to recruit because of their experience. None of them are taught how to recruit. None of them know how to interview. They assume that we know how to interview. And interviewing itself is a science. and they are not aware of it. So they come with the notion that we can ask the questions that we can ask because we have held the role that we are hiring for, and we are right now working at 1 or 2 levels above that role. Now, this notion itself is foolish because at the end of the day, you cannot really understand interviewing if your definition of interviewing is asking questions. That's investigation, that's not interviewing. Interviewing, in my mind, is actually understanding the personality of an individual. So the airtime in an interview scenario has to be 80-20. It is 20% of the time that the panel speaks and 80% of the time the candidate speaks. And I have seen real crazy representation of this scenario to the exact opposite terms, wherein the panel is continuously asking questions and there is no airtime given to the candidate, and which is very, very funny, and it really looks to be a mockery at the end of the day of the whole process. The fourth dimension that I want to refer here is the dimension of the process that we follow. And I always believe that assessment is the new black, and assessment is the key. You cannot hire talent without really assessing the quality of the personality and the quality of the psychology and outlook of an individual. So hiring by the logic of experience, hiring by the logic of educational qualifications, etc., is all a very foolish way to manage this process. Because in reality, none of us know what is the attitude and behavior of the candidate, because it's impossible to evaluate a 20-year experience holder in a 1-hour setting and understand what are the strengths and merits and demerits of his or her personality. It is just not possible. So that's the fourth dimension in talent acquisition scenario, which is a complete failure. The fifth dimension is now being introduced by tech, by artificial intelligence. So in my mind, this will disrupt the whole function of talent acquisition. And honestly speaking, I don't really speak that high of AI in every place, but especially in talent acquisition area, I think the fifth dimension of artificial intelligence is going to disrupt TA for the right reasons. It will reduce and remove the bias of hiring, the unconscious bias of hiring, which all hiring leaders and managers have, and even the talent acquisition function has. It will help the talent acquisition function to pitch candidates who are outliers and actually promote them not as culture fits, but actually as people who can change the culture and help the culture become better. The third thing is the assessment science that they are utilizing in this is phenomenal, because you are removing the biases of hiring leaders, plus you are interviewing using automation and real life scenarios, case studies. The simulations are wired around virtual reality. So you can literally give a scenario when you're hiring for retail, for example. A retail person will get the real life scenario of a real shop or a retail hypermarket. You're hiring a principal, you can actually create a scenario of a school and literally hire a principal using that. You're hiring a marketing manager, you're hiring a CEO, you can literally give the scenarios using virtual reality, augmented reality, the scenarios of those kind, and actually highlight what are the challenges on a daily basis in the lives of these candidates, and they can be validated and measured on that. I think what the AI processes are doing to the talent acquisition function is they are disrupting it. So I think it will be mixed. It will be very advanced and very futuristic for the people who are great users of AI. And I think they will progress very well with the new advent of technology. And that's the future of talent acquisition in future with the new age artificial intelligence.